All right, everybody. This is my friend Rico.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's been too long.
Yeah.
He is the official title would be
worship leader.
Worship leader. What I do for the church at Spring Creek, he does at Faith Family Church. And so he gets to lead worship for thousands of people. I think Faith Family has the most attendance of any church in Detroit.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
That's great.
So, yeah, we're about a little over 4,000.
And when I'm not working at Spring Creek Church, I'm visiting because I love the music presentation. It's phenomenal. I love Pastor Jim. He's a friend.
He's a cool guy. Yeah.
He's a friend. So we're so thankful you could take time to be here today.
Yeah.
Tell us about being a full-time musician. Tell us about what life on the road was like before you started with the church. And anything else you can fill them in on, or what it's like to have a career in music.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so as Mr. Tharp said, I work at Faith Family Church, and it really took me a really long time to get to where I am today. But if there's one word that can sum it all up, it would be the word persistence. How many of y'all have heard that word before? Like, know what that means, persistence. Persistence is basically just, I mean, in my way of saying it, it's just never quitting. It's learning how to fail and fail well. You know, fail well so that you can learn what you did, repeat the process, learn something else, repeat the process, learn something else, repeat the process, learn something else. As musicians, I'm sure that y'all have learned how to fail well, you know? I mean, because that's why I love talking to musicians, because we all have that relation, that natural relation of, you know, okay, now strum a G. Okay, well, up, you know? But then before you know it, it's just, and there's only one way to describe how you can now play that one chord, and it's seriously just the power of persistence. The fact that you did not give up, the fact that you looked adversity in the face whenever your G sounded like this, like all weird, and then just learning how to do it, taking a step back and saying, okay, I'm gonna focus on this. It's kind of like a lot of like my life is that I've had some really, really cool opportunities to do some really cool things. As Mr. Tharp earlier said, like life on the road and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't, it was exciting, it was fun, but it definitely wasn't something that like I absolutely loved. I loved the fact that I got to play music, but I was so just empty on the fact of, okay, I'm playing at a bar. Okay, now these dudes are fighting. Now we have to play a slow song. You know, that kind of stuff. It wasn't well, actually, do we have any freshmen in the class? Seniors? Yeah, cool, right on. Cool. Well, my freshman year was pretty rough, man. I'm not going to lie to y'all. First off, no way, shape, or form am I perfect. I am the most imperfect person you could ever meet. But the fact that I live my life as a person, like, I'm just very persistent. I know that I'm going to fail, but I'm going to learn from that failure and repeat everything over again that I did right. And then guess what? I'm going to fail again, but then I'm going to go through and do it all over again until I get it right. So my freshman year, guys, was horrible. It was so bad. I, coming out of junior high, that huge bully aspect, and then I started getting bullied, and it definitely was not fun. Not fun at all. I went to Cuero High School, freshman on varsity type mentality where people just didn't like me because of the fact that I was so young and I got such a great opportunity. And then, so my freshman year was really bad, but that's whenever I went to my first church service and actually answered an altar call. And that's whenever I started playing, like actually playing with the band. And guys, we were horrible. We were so bad. but we thought that we were good. It was awesome. Anyway, long story short, playing guitar eventually led me to playing with some really cool bands and having the ability to go and play at different dance halls with different people and stuff like that. Being a pickup musician for a couple of Texas country bands and stuff like that. But my senior year, my best friend passed away, which was just nuts. It rocked my world. It was one of those things that was just like kind of unheard of, you know? Especially in small town USA. Like, that just doesn't happen in Coro. Y'all know what I'm saying? And it rocked me to my core. And that's whenever I started taking this Christianity thing seriously. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to use my talent to change people's lives, to really affect the way that people go about living their life. And so I made that vow, and I love getting to do what I do at Faith Family. I get to play and lead students into worship every week, and it's a really great experience, and I love doing it. But it was a really long process to get there, really long process, and I just continued to learn from failure. One important thing that I learned, though, also was that you aren't what society says that you are. You aren't. You are not what this world says that you are. I'm a millennial, and I don't know the age gap in here, but I'm willing to say that I'm probably the only millennial in here, unless there's someone who's 18 pushing 19. And society's view on us as a generation is horrible, in case y'all haven't heard. Horrible. Then I've heard of the Gen Zers, which would be most of y'all guys. I've heard people go as far as saying that y'all are a godless generation. And I'm here today to tell y'all that y'all aren't. And that you are not what society calls you. See, I grew up without a father. My dad was 6 years old whenever he left us. I grew up without a dad. Statistics say that 74% of Hispanic men who grow up without a father spend 10 to 20 years in jail. And I'm a pastor. And I grew up without a father. Guys, I'm here to tell you that you are not what society tells you you are. You're not a punk. You're not a joke. Your life has a really high significance. There are things that you could do that I can't. There are people that you can reach that I can't. There are mountains that you can climb that I can't. Each one of you has a significance so big that you can't even comprehend it right now. And I really hope that I'm around one day to see something amazing play out in y'all's life, because I know that it can. I'm living proof that dreams come true. I really am. Now, what I do at Faith Family, music is a big part of it, but it's a small part of it. A lot of it is a lot of office work, a lot of growing and stuff like that. A lot of admin and stuff, but screens and more screens. The fun part of my job is I get to train musicians, and that's what I love doing the most. I love it because now that y'all know how to play, isn't it just so freeing once you start playing? It's just something that you can just put your heart and soul into. And that's how I coped with a lot of my emotions, was just by picking this thing up and playing. It didn't start out as a dream to do it as a job one day. It simply started out as a way that my counselor said, "You play guitar, right?" "Yes, ma'am, I do." "You should play it more often." "Okay." And this thing helped me get through a lot of my biggest upsets, and it helped me get through a lot of my biggest excitements. So, one thing that I want to instill in y'all today is, one, never underestimate the power of being persistent. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he successfully created the light bulb? Edison? Jefferson? Edison. Each time he was interviewed about failing, he looked at them and said, failure isn't failure unless you give up. You see, you can learn something from failure. How many of you play sports or have ever played sports? Perfect. Here's a perfect example. Whenever you strike out, whenever you miss a tackle, whenever you miss the baton, whenever you miss a set or anything like that, would you consider yourself a complete failure? No.
Well, maybe for a second.
Yeah, maybe the first time. But then no, because it's something that you get better at. It's something that you get better at, right? Everything in life, everything you're ever going to do in life, you have potential to get better at. And I love using this as a reference. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs worked at Apple Incorporated, designed the iPod, then got fired. He got fired, went and started his own company, developed his own company. Apple started going under. They brought back Steve Jobs. Not only did they bring him back as the president and CEO, they also bought the company that he had just made after they fired him. He's the perfect example. He's a great example of failure. He could have easily walked away and said, you know what, I failed. I got fired from Apple. I was on top of the world. Whatever. I'm done. But no. He looked at them. He stuck it to the man. And he said, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do this because I know that I can. And look at him. He's a revolutionary in the technology world. Was a revolutionary in the technology world.
Yeah.
So.
No, he still is.
Yeah.
How many of us are carrying his iPhone
Oh, yeah, exactly.
today? You know?
We still have his design
True.
in our pockets. And a lot of us on our desks. Because the MacBook Pro and Air were all him.
Mhm.
Persistence. Never stop. No matter how many times you fail. The next one is character. Always do the right things when no one's watching. Always do the right things when no one's watching. And the third one is you are not what this world tells you that you are. Y'all are destined for greatness. And as many times as you fail, I guarantee you that you're going to find 5 small successes in that failure. Never, ever give up. Always give it your all and always give it your best. And that's all society can ever ask from you.
Whoa! Third quarter captured all of that, too.
Okay, that's pretty nice.
That was awesome.
So, with that said, with those 3 things in mind, I want to play a song, and then we can ask questions or do whatever y'all want to do. The song is called Winning Streak. So. Through summer's longing, winter's cold, may you always have someone to hold, and may good fortune hang on every frame, and may your winning streak, may it never end. Take my advice, boy, 'cause my money's on you. Take my advice now, put your money down too. 'Cause there's just something in the eye you just can't pretend. So may your winning streak, may it never end. And may the sign of the Southern Cross be some comfort to you when you're lost. And may the devil's evil eye pass by. It's not for glory, I'll tell you true, that I do these things I do for you. For a promise It's a Mayo winning streak, they never end. Yeah, Mayo winning streak, they never end.
Did you write that?
No, it's actually Glenn Hansard, who is phenomenal. Spotify him, do whatever you can. One of my most favorite songwriters. He's brilliant. Has anyone ever heard of the show Once? Or the musical